Alex Newhook had quite the impressive debut in his first game as a Montreal Canadien, in a game where the Canadiens looked like they probably could have beat one of the league's top powerhouses. We'll be going over the whole game as well as Alex Newhook's debut in this video, but before we get into it, we noticed that 96% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so if you're looking for a spot to get all your breaking news, all your news from your favorite team and around the league, you're in the right spot. Make sure to stay a while, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the major news. But like I said, what an impressive debut from Alex Newhook, I have to say. 2 goals for, on the second line with the Montreal Canadiens. You couldn't ask for much more for a player where you got him not for a star role, but quite the impressive game, like I said. See, 2 goals, plus 1, 50% face-off percentage. You can't ask for much better than that. But Nick and Noah, tell me, as the Montreal fans for this channel, what do you think about his impressive debut?
Well, I was excited from the day that we got him in June. He's young, he's very fast. You've seen that last night, how fast he was. He was beating most guys to the puck. But I'm more concerned about what he's doing for the other 2 guys on the line, and Kirby Dach and Uri Slafkovsky. Both those guys also looked phenomenal last night, and how he sort of makes them better players. I'm all for him being on the top line, and I think he is getting a little bit of power play time. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it as well. The guy's got speed to burn, like you said. He was flying around everybody last night. He looked like one of the best players on the ice. He's a good two-way player. He had a good deflection there on that second goal. But like what you said with making Slafkovsky and Dach better players, Slafkovsky and Dach are great, but you add speed to that line, and obviously Slafkovsky's got room to improve. But last night, playing with Alex Newhook, it looked like the best game in a Habs uniform for Slav.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we said this when he got traded. That playoff experience, even though he wasn't, a guy on the first, second line for that Colorado team, that's crucial to put on line with guys like Kirby Dach and Uri Slafkovsky. 2 guys who, Dach had a full, very good season last year. Slafkovsky got hurt, had a bit of a tough time early on in the season, but getting that experience in the playoffs, even as a young guy like Newhook, I think that is very crucial. But the thing is with that as well, the second line, I think that was the best line all game. They had both 2 goals for Newhook. Great play by Slafkovsky to feed Newhook up the middle on one of those there. And Kirby Dach, Kirby Dach will also set that line. He'll fill that line up for sure. You can put him on any line. I think it'd be perfect. And you could also experiment maybe with Josh Anderson. I know we were talking about this before the video. Maybe you can even move a guy up here or there, see what they do with Caulfield and Suzuki just to see, experiment with the game. But if that second line's working, I wouldn't think you would change that too much. But
I don't want to move it.
Yeah, you can't really change what's working then to make it, mess it up a bit. But as well as the game, we're just going to talk about the game here for a bit as well. I think this is a really good game for the Montreal Canadiens. I didn't expect them to come in and have this close at all. We know how good the Leafs have gotten this offseason, how good they already were. And to bring it to a shootout, you can't ask for much more. A weak goal there from Jake Allen near the end, but you can't ask for someone who's a guy who's, 55 years old about. You can't ask for much more on a star-studded young team like the Leafs who have all that firepower. But Noah and Nick, tell me as well, what do you think about the game? Do you think Montreal is heading in the right direction? Does this game show any promise for them this season or anything?
Absolutely. You said they can compete with the best of the best in the league, but I don't know if it's essentially it goes to show that they're they have what it takes. Obviously they don't. There's probably fans going to be in the comments saying, "Oh, we want to try to get Cole Yzerman or Macklin Celebrini or have a top 5 pick to balance out that top 6 even more." But I'm all for letting the guys develop. Give them a bit of confidence. Make sure. Even you said that second line. I still thought Caulfield and Suzuki on the top line looked great last night. Let those guys get their confidence going. Let them ball. Let them get buzzing. Let them do whatever. But I think it's a step in the right direction. I do.
Well, I think that second line is going to be our first line by the end of the year if they keep putting Josh Anderson with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. I got to say, I'm not a fan of Josh Anderson on that line. That hasn't worked for the last little while. It worked back in 2021 for a little while. They played together going into the playoffs or whatever when Caulfield first came up and all that. And then they eventually moved to Foley there because it wasn't working. But it's still just not working for me. I don't like it. But as for the game itself, I think it showed Montreal is going to have, and I think Eric Engel said this last night too, there's going to be a lot of growing pains this year. There's going to be a lot of games where you go up. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of games where you go up even late, and then you blow the lead because the defense is not exactly where it should be yet. The goaltending is not exactly Carey Price, as we'll say. But, I mean, the team played good last night. They scored a few goals. The defense has definitely got to get better over the years if they're going to end up competing. They can't allow 42 shots to a team that has they got 3 former 40-goal scorers, 160-goal scorer, and a team with that much offensive firepower. You can't give up 40 shots to that and expect to win the game.
Yeah, for the subject of the defense for Montreal, I think this year we may see, I don't think they'll do it all at once because you just can't do that. You need experience on the backside, but I think they're going to move in a lot of these younger guys they have down in defense. Maybe throw them in a game here or there, give them a week or so just to, feel it out, because I don't think this Montreal defense will hold up all year. They're not that great.
Yeah, no.
They're not supposed to be great. That's the thing. They're not supposed to be a good defense yet. Yet is the key word here, because obviously they have a very good, Mike Matheson. David Savard's getting a bit old, but Mike Matheson has showed promise, especially last year. He looked very good for the small time he played with Montreal. But then you also have guys everywhere for the Montreal Canadiens prospect-wise for defense. So I think that if you can, maybe move them in here or there throughout the year. You don't want to stick with what you got. Maybe a weaker game, throw someone else in, give them their NHL debut or something. But the backside of Montreal and the goaltending is something that's going to be needed to work out, but the offense has been looking stellar.
I think you almost have to assume after the college season, Lane Hudson's going to be on in this lineup for sure. I mean, he's just elite. I mean, I don't know if I've seen a defenseman of his talent ever, really. I mean, maybe a Cale Makar, but I think he for sure he gets in maybe the last 10, 15 games of the season.
Let me fix that for you. I don't think I've ever seen it with Montreal. That's
well, yeah. That's a better way of putting it, yeah.
As long as we've been watching, which is probably like a decade and a half or a little bit more now, almost 2 decades, Montreal has never had a defenseman like that can score goals. They had PK Subban for a couple of years there, but we know how that ended.
He's not like Lane Hudson.
No, he's not like Lane Hudson. He didn't come up with as much promise as Lane Hudson. But another thing I wanted to get into before we wrap it up here, I thought Jack-Eye being so willing to drop the gloves with Ryan Reeves, and Steve Dangle said this too on Twitter. If you guys want to look that up, Steve Dangle said this: Jack-Eye being so willing to drop the gloves with Ryan Reeves, right off the bat, is why he's going to be a problem for the Atlantic Division for a long time, because he will not hesitate. If you don't hesitate to fight Ryan Reeves, you don't hesitate to fight anybody. And that's another thing I really loved out of Jack-Eye. It wasn't a real fight. He pushed him over the net, whatever. But he still dropped the gloves and went in there with him, and I really like that from Jack-Eye tonight.
Yeah, went on the attack, didn't stay on the defense. That's what you want to see, I said that you could see a guy like him getting traded, but, we know how that ended up in the comments. But I still think, it's possible at some point, maybe, whatever. But, okay, who did Montreal play next in their next game? Chicago, yes. Okay, that's Saturday at home. So we'll see the experience there from the Canadiens again in their second game, what they do against Connor Bedard, how they defend Connor Bedard. We'll see all that on Saturday. If this Montreal team can keep up with them, can maybe even pull out a win against a team who's even worse than them. But that's all we have for this video. Wrapping this one up here. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see all the news on Chicago, Montreal, all the teams that you want to see. We'll be having it here. We'll be covering it all. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. That's all we got, though. Thank you for watching. See you later. Have a good day.